Hi, Padre Phil here. At Veterans Chaplaincy, we're here to support the veterans community. But in doing so, we can't ignore what is going on in the world around us. And as we see groups of veterans standing guard over war memorials to prevent them from being damaged, it would be remiss of me not to mention what is happening. I am a veteran. I am also a Christian, and I am white. I've never experienced racism. Some might say that I'm therefore unable to understand or comment on what is happening today in our country. However, I grew up in Belfast during the Troubles. I may not know racism, but I certainly know sectarianism. I know what it is to grow up within a divided culture. I know hatred. I know violence. And I know it gets us nowhere. Every day of my youth I lived with the atmosphere of them and us. And it is that atmosphere that is prevailing again in our society, with protests, riots, vandalism, and the destruction of each other's opposing culture. There is one thing I know from my experience: you cannot expunge the past in order to create a better future. The past is the past. It can't be rewritten. It can't be taken down. Indeed, it should not be taken down. This is a little quote from philosopher George Santayana. You will recognize it, but I'm going to read the whole quote to you. He says, "Progress, far from consisting in change, depends on retentiveness, depends on remembering. When change is absolute, there remains no being to improve, and no direction is set for possible improvement. And when experience is not retained, as among savages, infancy or childishness continues. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." Those who seek to tear down the past with violence are merely repeating the violence of the past and perpetuating violence into the future, creating division and hatred. As every veteran knows, a war memorial is not a celebration of the past, it is a remembrance of the past, to learn the lessons of the past. And there is a great difference between remembering a past that is filled with both good and evil and celebrating a past that some might find offensive. There can be nothing less offensive than a war memorial. In looking for that full quote from George Santayana, I came across another of his quotes. He says, "Fanaticism consists in redoubling your efforts when you have forgotten your purpose." Tearing things down, doing violence to the things that others hold dear, is completely and utterly counterproductive. Tearing down shows a lack of respect towards the people that you want to respect you. It feeds the them and us attitude. It increases division. It encourages more violence. Those who want to tear down rather than build up have nothing to offer our society now or in the future. So what is the answer to those who feel oppressed, who have and do experience hatred or racism or injustice in the world? Well, let me start by saying protest is easy, rhetoric is easy, violence is easy, but love and forgiveness are hard. Yet it is only with love and forgiveness that any real progress is going to be made. You want a better society? Here's what Jesus had to say about that. He said, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength, and love your neighbour as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these." He also said, "You have heard that it was said, 'Love your neighbour and hate your enemy.' But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your brothers, what are you doing more than others? Do not even the pagans do that?" It is only by loving our neighbours as we love ourselves, it is only by showing love towards those even who persecute us, that society will be healed and strengthened. You want to change society? The way of change is the way of love, not the way of hate. I leave you with another quote, and I've deliberately chosen this man because of how he's been portrayed in recent days. This is from the closing speech at the world's first Scout Jamboree in Kensington, London in 1920. The words of Lord Robert Baden Powell. "Brother Scouts," he says, "differences exist between the peoples of the world in thought and sentiment, just as they do in language and physique. The Jamboree has taught us that if we exercise mutual forbearance and give and take, then there is sympathy and harmony. If it be your will, let us go forth fully determined that we will develop among ourselves and our boys that comradeship through the world-wide spirit of the Scout Brotherhood, so that we may help to develop peace and happiness in the world and goodwill among men." God bless you all. Ta-ta for now.